That's right. Hello, everyone. It's orange and blue today, after dark. Kind of. I mean, we're close enough to after dark, right?
When we're recording this, the sun will soon be setting
Yes.
in downtown Indianapolis.
But the sun is not setting on the scouting combine. We're just getting going.
Oh,
You like it? Yeah. I mean, we're just getting going here in
yeah.
Indy. And when you think, okay, we're waiting for quarterbacks, we are quarterback crazy, but Mace, there's just so much more going on. We talked about it on the earlier show. This show's going to be a little bit more laid back, a little bit of a brain dump from today. But yeah, we're quarterback crazy, but it goes beyond that as well.
Front seven on the defensive side. That was the point of emphasis today. Linebackers and defensive linemen. I'm gonna ask you this.
Sure.
Let's say when all is said and done, the Broncos have 7 draft picks.
Okay.
How many do you expect to be either defensive linemen or inside linebackers?
I would say 3 of those 7 would be defensive linemen and inside linebackers.
Okay.
And we're not talking about edge guys, right?
Not edge. I'm
DL.
talking about the in the box guys. 3 in your base package, your 3 interior D linemen and your 2 off-ball linebackers.
Yep. Give me 3 guys to stuff the run that also can get penetration as a rusher somehow.
Okay. See, the somehow is going to be the tricky part of this, but especially because I don't think you're talking about the Broncos using their first pick on this area of the team. I think this is going to mainly be a day 3 thing.
Yes.
But I was going to say 2 of 7, which is significant. That's 1 on the defensive line, 1 in the inside linebacker core. But I could see 3 in total out of 7. That's how important this area is and how profoundly the Broncos were affected in terms of their form by what happened against the run last year. I mean, a bit better run defense. We alluded to it earlier today. The Washington result is different. The New York Jets result is different.
Yep.
And who knows about the domino effect from there if you win those games. I mean, that is where I will say this. The people who defend Russell Wilson, they do have a point because there were other things that were going askew for the Broncos that had culpability in finishing out of the playoffs once again.
Yes. Now be careful with the Russell Wilson defenders. 1, I don't think there's that many left in Broncos country, and 2, they'll fill our comment section. So make sure to like and subscribe and all that kind of stuff.
You don't want comments, or do you just not? You don't want.
I want
bad.
kind
You want.
comments.
I want intelligent
There
comments.
was a guy
kind
yesterday
comments.
whose username was Vader who said, "Why are you guys talking about Star Wars because of your dream?" I have my own dream to get to today.
Oh,
But I was like, please be kind. We're working hard. I don't need to hear anything about my hair or about Russell Wilson being the greatest ever. He's not. They're moving on.
yeah.
But I want to ask you this before I get
Evidenced
to my
by how
dream.
many quarterbacks we know they're talking to already. I
Exactly.
think we have official confirmation already on
McCarthy. Nix.
Pratt, Nix, and Penix.
Yep. And we're going to get to the quarterback conversation and my dream about a quarterback in just a little
Okay.
bit. A dream that I had just
You know what-
hours ago in Indianapolis.
You know, a dream is a wish your heart makes when you fall asleep.
Very good.
Thank
I like
you.
that. How much? I want to be very gentle with the way that I say this. Granted, on the subject matter. And
You
who
gentle?
I'm going to bring up. Yes, me with.
Wow.
kid
Newsflash.
gloves. How? I don't want to say pressure or concern or whatever, but Vance Joseph, they're going to commit resources to fixing the defense. If
Yes.
he does not fix the defense, how much, stress will there be on Vance Joseph once the resources are spent? I'm saying 3 and 7. You're saying 2 and 7. They add linebackers. They add defensive linemen. They develop pass rushers further, Mace. Let's say it doesn't work. They're still soft against the run. Vance Joseph, it should be a concern for him after they spend these resources.
Okay, obviously these numbers were skewed by the 70 burger down in South Florida
Okay.
last September. But last year, 27th in points allowed, 29th in total defense. in
It's not good, Bob.
both cases, the lowest rankings since the 2010 season when the Broncos were dead last in both under Wink Martindale, the second year of Josh McDaniels as head coach. So if you're talking about another season in which the Broncos, in those two metrics, finish in the, I'd say the bottom third of the league. Okay. So if they're 20 or lower in those two metrics, I think there would be a great deal of pressure for a change. And on your staff right now, you have the most accomplished defensive play caller in major college football over the past several years, in Jim Leonard.
Yes.
Being the defensive coordinator from 17 through 22 at the University of Wisconsin.
Very highly thought of.
And a guy who played a decade in the NFL. So I said it, I've said it a couple of times, very softly, but I think the clock started to tick on Vance Joseph having to get something done the moment somebody like Jimmy Leonard walked in the building, because now you do have somebody that if things do devolve, it's very easy to say, okay, here's someone who has clear, like his resume screams that he's earned a shot either as a major college head coach or as an NFL defensive coordinator. I mean, he's probably overqualified for the role of defensive backs coach.
Yes.
The phrase football genius was uttered today at the combine.
Just right over there.
From one of his former players at Wisconsin in regards to Jim Leonard. And so I asked, okay, why? What made him a football genius? And this is something I think everyone's going to want to hear, is that he takes complex concepts, because he's got an incredibly bright football mind. Like, he and Sean Payton, you can see why they're going to get along, right? I mean, I'd love to be a fly on the wall for their talking ball conversations. But what Jim has is the ability to take those concepts and distill them down into language that every player can understand and grasp and execute.
Right.
And, that's, for example, it's what Wade Phillips has. And part of the reason why Wade was so successful. So it's low-key a very significant hire on the staff.
Maybe the best hire of the offseason.
Yeah. Now, of course, the thing is, he's working with defensive backs, so he gets the defensive. He could do really well with the defensive backs, and the rising tide lifts all boats. And then that keeps Vance Joseph around, or maybe gets Vance Joseph back into the head coaching conversation.
Hey,
that's
what you want. By the way,
you want coaches to move up and move on,
promoted, that are thought of as future head coaches. You and I both believe Jim Leonard is a future head coach in this league. So for me, I'm not saying VJ, get rid of VJ. Mm-hmm. That was last year in week 3. But now I'm saying, okay, VJ, you got to make it work, dude. Mm-hmm. Or you know what, Jim Leonard's going to make it work.
Yeah. It was also interesting that with Jim Leonard, they gave him the title they're giving him the title like passing game coordinator on the defensive side, not just defensive backs coach. Which, by the way, that passing game coordinator title, that's what Christian Parker got from Philadelphia, reuniting with Vance Joseph, which created the opening that Jim Leonard filled. Another thing to consider on Jim Leonard, he worked last year as a consultant at the University of Illinois under Brett Bielema, another former Wisconsin coach. He had hip replacement surgery last year, and so that affected whether he was going to take a job or not. Mm-hmm. So now the timing is right. This is a really interesting hire. I think I would actually go as far as to say that beyond whatever happens at quarterback, I know we started talking about the front 7, now we're talking about the whole defense, but Jim Leonard is the most significant addition to the Broncos other than whoever comes in at quarterback.
And here is why. Because there is a need at cornerback. They are looking at cornerbacks. I categorized it as the final of 5 needs at denversports.com. You can read my latest. I believe I know the Broncos draft plan. cornerback on the list, but at the end of that list. But here's the thing. You and I talk a lot about Riley Moss. Jim Leonard can make Riley Moss a Pro Bowler. And it's on Moss to perform. But you give him, I'm talking about allocating resources.
Yes.
Okay? Riley Moss should feel like he got a gift from, I feel like Blues Brothers. We're going to go on a road trip. We should do that. We're on a mission from God. You should feel like you got a gift from God, Riley Moss, because you just got a hell of a coach.
Someone who will actually kind of take those
Shepherd
raw
him.
tools. Like
Yes.
Riley Moss has some great raw tools.
Yes.
Starting with his speed. Here's somebody that can guide him to maximize those. And oh, by the way, he probably, being in the Big Ten for so long at Wisconsin, Jim probably knows a thing or two about what Riley Moss can do.
I bet Jim's excited about working with Riley Moss.
I bet he is too.
Yep.
That's something to kind of keep in the back of your mind, I believe.
So Sean got Pete Carmichael for the new quarterback, whoever that is, but he also got Jim Leonard
maybe
for the guy.
Because I think it ends up being plural.
But yes, it will.
Free agent, and draft.
Yes, it will be for the new quarterbacks.
Yes.
That's Pete Carmichael. But you know what? He makes the move for Riley Moss. He gets rid of a second round, gets rid of picks, moving around, getting Riley Moss. Sean Payton will want his guy that he maneuvered and gave up assets for. Jim Leonard, it's your job to make sure this guy hits. The talent, the physical stuff's easy to see.
Yeah.
I like
Hey,
this.
and organizationally, I mean, it was put out there last month. See, Riley Moss is a starter. And the other thing is this. For this roster building equation to work, when you're navigating a fair amount of dead cap room. Now here's a little stat. Last year, can you tell me what the average dead cap figure in the league was?
Average dead cap figure. I can't tell you off of my head, but it probably
Take a guess.
10 million.
38 million.
Wow. This
Average.
league has a dead cap problem.
Yes.
And a drinking problem. We're in Indy.
You're saying it the week where
all the drinking happens.
Oh my God.
More livers are crushed. That's why it's done at a hospital in Indy, because more livers are crushed this week in Indianapolis. Anyway, don't get me started.
Anyway, yeah. Well,
38 million?
38 million.
Average.
Average.
That's
Yes.
terrible. Remember not so long ago when the Broncos had like $500,000 in a dead cap?
They
were the league's best.
There was a period of time where that was the thing John Elway was doing best.
Yes.
The pay-as-you-go contracts, basically.
Right.
The
Got him a
Bronco-
reputation.
Yes.
John, I'm sorry.
It did.
I still want to have a drink with John at Elway's. I beg him every time I'm on the air. I beg him. John, call me.
Reputations.
You proceed.
They stick.
Yes. Yep. Not really, no matter what you can do. Once it's out there.
I mean, it's kind of interesting to look. What will the reputation of current management be? Because on the one hand, current ownership honored basically the verbal commitment to extend Russell Wilson.
Yes.
That it inherited, because Russell will look. Just let's make this clear here.
Very clear.
Very clear. Russell Wilson does not waive his no trade clause to come to Denver unless there's a new contract in play.
Ding, 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 ding,
Okay?
ding.
So.
And that wasn't written.
And it was, and this was before the Walton Penner Group came in.
Yes.
So you're confronted with that. If you say, no, we're going to wait, organizationally, you inherited the promise and you'd be walking that back.
Yes.
That was not a step and not a reputation that Greg Penner, Kerry Walton Penner, Rob Walton wanted to have.
We're going to get real here because this is just me.
So that's
opining.
People are like, which owners gave him, the contract?
They totally did that.
They were honoring a commitment.
Yes.
And because they didn't want, you don't want to walk in and get that reputation of, we're not going to honor our commitment. Now, of course, then there's the whole thing of the back and forth. We're, about the injury, about the injury guarantee, delaying that clause. But, they can ask for that. and it was Russell Wilson and Mark Rodgers' right to say no, and they said no, and that was
right. And that was that.
And that
Now,
was, yeah.
let me say something that is pretty real. So, kind of haze me here a little bit, Mace, please, as my emotions run wild.
Don't haze me, bro.
Don't haze me? Don't haze me? Okay.
Sorry.
Do haze me, bro. Because I want to make sure this is right and said correctly. The PR team for Russell Wilson tried to make the Broncos look bad when he was flipping benched because he wasn't good enough. How would it have responded at a contract that was verbally agreed to or an extension that was verbally agreed to? What would that PR team have done had the Broncos' new ownership said, wait a second, we just bought this, there's a verbal thing, there's nothing written, you have no legal recourse. Imagine that PR battle, and imagine the reputation it would get for a new ownership group. I mean, this is just bad all the way around.
Are you familiar with what the Death Star did to Alderaan?
Yes. Yes.
Or to Jeddah City?
Mm-hmm.
That's what would have been done. Total destruction.
What kind of NFL PA grade would you get if that had happened?
Yeah.
So it was a battle of PR, and it's also a way that you want to conduct business.
Yeah. You're coming into the NFL, and I mean, one of the things that was understood quickly is that the reputation, especially when it comes to that sort of thing, it's going to stick. And so
right.
You can debate the whole thing of whether it should have been asked as far as the delaying the injury guarantee, but that's relatively small compared to what would have been a massive thing of saying, okay, basically we had this promise and we're not going to keep it. I mean, ownership's name would have been mud from the get-go.
Right.
That was not an option. Okay? So
that's the biggest truth that, I mean, nobody has really expressed it the way you just expressed it. And we have to let people know because there's a lot of misconceptions. Oh, ownership. Oh,
well, there are people like, oh, how can they get an A? Well,
easy.
Okay, the NFLPA grades. I knew we'd get to the
NFLPA grades.
I knew we'd get to the NFLPA grades today on this show. I've already written about it at denversports.com.
Check it out.
Yeah. Broncos got there are some things they can do better. Like they're getting, one of the areas they're getting knocked is no daycare at the stadium on game day.
Yeah, treatment of families. What, they get a D?
They got tied for, I think, like 17th or 18th in the league. They're a lot, basically almost half the league is like D+ or lower.
Right.
In treatment of families.
Yeah.
So it's actually that's something that I'd say league-wide probably needs to be an investment.
It needs to be addressed, certainly. Ownership, they got A. Coach, they got A-. Cafeteria, they got B. And if you look around the league, Arizona has 3 meals a day now on just Wednesday. We got 3 meals for you, but only on Wednesday.
Cincinnati still doesn't do.
Cincinnati's got like an F-.
Well, because Cincinnati doesn't do meals on the player's off day, on the Tuesday. But here's the thing. You got players coming in for rehab.
Right.
They're injury rehab, right? So just because it's an off day doesn't mean you don't have people coming in.
Better grab some Subway. Unpaid endorsement. Spicy.
Yeah. Remember the whole thing about 15, 20 years ago when Washington got knocked for serving fast food, and then they went on one of their online shows and were trying to, it was like, Baja Fresh is not fast food.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. There we go.
Anyway.
But the Broncos grade overall, average if we take in all grades.
But here, the locker room, they got a D+. There are functional things in that locker room they can improve.
Yes.
The way that building was designed, they renovated in 2016, and credit to the construction people and the Chip Conway and everyone in operation.
They did what they could.
They took, I did not think they could create space where they did.
It was already tight.
Yeah, it was already tight. So they created some nooks and crannies to make it a little better, but there was only so much they could do. And also the other thing is, now that practice squads have permanently become 16 rather than 10, and now that you also have recallable injured reserves players, simply put, the rosters are larger on a day-to-day basis in the season. And so make no mistake, that is a thrust of building a new facility.
Yes.
Down there at Secure Health Training Center, a new building. A huge part of it is the locker room and also the general kind of flow. Like, because
you got to go outside to go to the weight room.
The weight room got high marks, okay?
Yes.
It was interesting that the strength coaches, the Broncos took a hit in that because in the survey, players were saying, oh, there weren't individualized programs, right? But the locker room got D+. And what are they doing? They're spending untold millions to build a new building that will solve that.
Yes.
Which is, so when you look at, oh, they get a D+ in this, but ownership gets an A. Ownership gets an A because the players in that building have seen what the new facility and locker room is going to look like. They see, okay, they are putting their resources into fixing this. And that's what's going to get you a high mark. Whereas the owner who got an F-, Clark Hunt
didn't have time. You played too many games. You played too long.
I'm going to call BS on that.
Well, of course it's BS.
Well, you know why? Because the Broncos in 2016, when they renovated the locker room, they did that coming off a Super Bowl.
Right.
When they didn't have time.
No time.
Yeah.
No time.
Yeah, they had the shortest offseason you could have at that moment. They still renovated the locker room. So
Not
that
a
is
good day for
so that is
Kansas City.
bullshit.
Clean it up for YouTube. Overlords, help us. Like,
I didn't.
comment,
I just coughed. I just said bull.
All right. Well, I used to say blank your mouth, but not even the cuss word. But I can't say it, or else YouTube's AI bots will search if there's an SH word that kind of sounds like that word. The bots will shut. No monetization for you.
That's scary.
Yeah.
AI is scary.
We'll talk about censorship on our other.
Well, no, but AI is scary. We're headed for a Terminator-like fate, I fear.
Oh yeah. Hey, you kidding me?
You know.
Yeah.
Judgment Day.
Yes. It's out there.
Yeah, I know.
The grade.
We knew we were warned about this, and we didn't listen.
You've seen Christmas Story. I know you have.
Yes.
I work in profanity like an artist works in oils and clays. But I will say this: the grade coming up will be like when you had that fantasy about his grade on his project, and he's like A++++. Those A++++s are coming soon for Broncos ownership.
Yes.
They'll get it done. That new facility
they were
is gonna be
tied for
awesome.
5th highest among owners.
Yes. That's
there
gonna
were
be done.
fours that were like A+, and the Broncos were an A. So that's coming. I agree. That's coming.
Do a rare movie quote that we haven't done on this show. You'll know what it is. So let it be written. So let it be done. I have a dream I want to talk to as we wrap up today's program. We go a little long on this show, right? We meander a lot. I meandered over here, Mace. I was watching Den of Nerds. Shout out Den of Nerds.
I had to go back to the hotel.
The hotel.
From here in the Indiana Convention Center. Get my backpack and come back. Like Oh, and I left my wallet back in the hotel too. It's
been a day.
I've put my steps in though.
Yes, you got the
like
steps.
There's
And we got a great night planned. More information flowing.
Yeah, we got some stuff.
Maybe not the only thing flowing, but either way, can I tell you about my dream?
I mean, I told you about my dream yesterday. Of course, you can tell me about your dream.
Okay, and they'll say I'm a dreamer.
And you're not the only one.
No, not at all.
Second straight day. Gosh.
We should have it in there.
Know.
I dreamt the Broncos moved up to number 2.
2
for Jayden Daniels. I woke up so happy.
You're trying to.
I'm trying to manifest. Because that's my guy. I love Jayden Daniels. He's my favorite quarterback in this class. And I'm like, I don't know how that worked. We're our quarterback crazy. That's why I made this thumbnail.
You think Washington's trading down?
No. I think Washington's taking Jayden Daniels.
I think so
But I just
too.
had this dream of like, they did it and they got my guy. Because here's the thing. I said it on the fan. It's a pipe dream for CU to get Deion Sanders, but that's my dream. And they did it. And I said on the fan, it's a pipe dream for the Broncos to get Sean Payton, and they did it. So I'm telling you, can they make it 3 in a row of Cecil Lammey dream scenarios with Jayden Daniels?
Wouldn't that be wild?
Thank you for not crushing my dream. I thought you were going to say no. Hell no. No way possible. Well, I don't think it happens, Mace.
See, I don't.
But a guy can dream, can he?
Jaden Daniels is interesting because the LSU program is one with which the Broncos coaching staff obviously has some very deep connections.
The guy that recruited him to LSU is on their staff. So, linebackers coach. He recruited Jaden Daniels to LSU. Sean Payton has so many ties with the Bayou Bengals. I mean, if you want to know everything about that guy, you've got that information.
Yeah.
And it's, I just think Jaden Daniels with his Lamar Jackson-like athleticism with Sean Payton-like coaching. I mean, hey,
but,
what? Is that the best quarterback in the league?
But will he acquiesce to winning in the pocket first?
You mentioned Terminator. I don't want a robot, baby.
I know that.
Okay.
But
I want a playmaker.
The success happens in the pocket first.
He said that. Sean Payton said that, right? Eventually, yesterday, Sean Payton said,
he did.
You got to win from the pocket.
And the question would be, because everyone makes the Lamar Jackson comp on Jaden Daniels, and there's no denying how electric that is and how successful that can be. But is that something that meshes with what Sean Payton prefers to do offensively? And I mean, it's actually worth asking when Jaden Daniels has his press conference on Friday about operating from the pocket.
Yes.
Because if there's a willingness there to adapt to that long term, that NFL reality that ultimately you must do things from the pocket in order to reach that highest level, if he can do that, and if he has the willingness to do it, it's a game changer. And Daniels is interesting just because, like we said, the connections that are there.
Would he see some Mahomes in Daniels? You know what I mean?
And he liked Patrick Mahomes.
He loved Patrick.
And by the way, Patrick Mahomes wanted to take off, but also will do it from the pocket. See, that's the thing. You can be a mobile quarterback, but if you have the willingness and the wherewithal to do it from the pocket, then that's all. That's all you need, baby. That's all you need.
I love when you say that. I think Jaden Daniels is being underrated as a passer because people are just so blown away by the athleticism. Oh, he's like Lamar Jackson. Well, I mean, yes and no.
He makes high-level throws.
He does. And Sean Payton's going to know this, man. And you have a person in place, and I love Adam Peters. Like, I don't think the Broncos staff has been the same without Adam Peters. But you have a person in place from San Francisco where you were very friendly when it came to making deals. So I'm just saying 3 in a row. Let's make it happen.
But why would Adam Peters make that deal?
He wouldn't.
That's why it's not happening.
Because Washington needs a quarterback. Everyone needs a quarterback. The league is quarterback crazy, not just you and me.
It's Chicago if you make a deal, believe it or not. But you don't have. But they just don't have enough ammunition to get to one.
Wow.
Unless.
What?
You're not getting to one without sacrificing 3 years of first-round picks, 3 years of second-round picks. If you try to get to one, it's going to look like your draft capital in the movie Draft Day. Like where every general manager at some point commits a fireable offense. Watching that movie the night before the draft is my tradition.
Okay.
Yeah.
Traditions are important, right?
Is it a great movie? No.
Not at all.
Not at all. There are so many things I'm like, that's wrong, that's wrong, that's wrong. It wouldn't be like that. No. Yeah. The general managers all lose their minds. Some of them I'm not sure. Like, you trade 3 second-round picks for the number. Like, who is getting the number 6 overall pick for 3 second-rounders? That doesn't happen.
What a bargain for me.
I mean, no, that would not happen in real life.
That's not going to happen.
No, anyway.
But maybe we should do movie reviews on this show. I don't know. You tell us in the comments. You guys like these longer shows. You like the more laid-back approach.
Charlie mess around shows?
Exactly. We can
I can use a stronger term than that.
Yes. Speaking of something a little stronger, let's wrap up today's show. What do you think?
Okay.
Is it feed out time?
Let's circle back. Yeah, I know. It doesn't look great. Like you've seen
sorry, everybody. I mean, we're working like 18-hour days, so I apologize.
Let's. You know what we should do? We should do we should do the never miss a vid with the feet.
Yes, we will. We will do that.
Okay.
We will do that.
Anyhow, just to go back to the original point, we started off talking about the front seven. It was interesting today when Fabian Lovett, who we've talked a lot about, when he was answering questions, and like the thing that he wanted to make clear right from the jump was that I'm a pass rusher. Mm-hmm. He seemed a little bit miffed that FSU used him as a 2-down defensive lineman. Mm-hmm. And his goal, he said, I want to come in, show in the workouts that I have the agility and quickness to play 3 downs.
He did it at the Shrine.
Yeah. Can you get Lovett in the 4th round?
Yes. Because FSU didn't handle him the right way.
Yeah, but what if he does do what he says he wants to do at the combine?
Scouts are too afraid of that. Executives are too afraid of that. Well, we didn't see it on film. Well, you got to project. That's the nice thing about the draft. It's like, here's what they are, but here's what they could be.
Well, that's the thing. When you get to day 3, to me, it's all about projection.
Yep.
It's all about upside.
I want that upside. I want that player.
I'm okay with big misses on day 3 to get the big hit. Day 3 is when you're just basically you're Kyle Schwarber, man. You might be batting like 198, but you got 30+ homers. Swing away. Okay?
I'll trust you on that reference.
Thank you.
He's Andrew Mason. You follow him on all the socials at Mace Denver. I'm at Cecil Lammey. We want you to help out the YouTube channel. Hey, you guys love this more content, Saturday shows, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
guess what?
By the way, to be exact, Kyle Schwarber last year, a 197 average, 47 home runs.
There you go. Swing away.
The year before, 218, 46 home runs.
George Payton. Sean Payton. Swing away.
I think Sean Payton has the swing away mindset.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
But
go to a batting cage with Sean Payton sometime.
George Payton is interesting because on day 3, he wants to find players that can contribute on special teams first.
Yep.
But sometimes that means you're not taking the big talent swings.
And their special teams is fixed. Now with more Mike Westhoff?
We haven't heard about him leaving, have we? And he was referenced yesterday, I think, by George Payton.
Yes.
We're going to talk about getting players for Sean, offense, Vance, defense, Westy, special teams.
Kind of sounds like he's staying, everybody.
That'd be awesome. He's forgotten more about special teams than like anybody will ever know.
You sitting down with Westhoff would be like must-see nerd TV.
Okay, well then when they do the assistant coach availability in June, maybe you should shoot that when I'm chatting with Westhoff, because I chatted with him last year. It was fun. I got I got a bunch of stuff out of it. And I'll say this for Westhoff, like even though Mims had not practiced at that point, like he knew Mims was going to be ready.
Oh yeah.
Like back in June, I've thought about that a lot since Mims became so good and became a Pro Bowler as a rookie, and so good that teams changed their entire punt plan because of him.
Yep.
Because they didn't want him to get the ball.
Yep.
Anyway.
That is a wrap. Help us out on YouTube, and we appreciate you. And
wait, we got to go through it. We got to go through it.
We got to do the feet, though.
Okay. All right. Like, comment, share, subscribe. Hit that notification bell so that you never miss a vid.
Oh my God, these shows are off the rail. This is what happens when we work 18-hour days. We get a little slappy, slap happy, slap something.
Slappy.
Slappy.
Are we a couple of slappies now? We're happy slappies here in Indy.
You call us chuckleheads. I call us fantastic. So I don't know. Anyway.
That's nice. Yeah. Let's go out on that.
Let's go out. OBT is a BFD. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned, and would you please stay frosty.